Well, greetings, everyone. This is episode 379 of the 3 Point Podcast. As always, we're presented by the Memorial Healthcare Wellness Center. Their orthopedic walk-in clinic is now available for those sports-related injuries, Monday through Fridays, 8 to noon. No appointment needed. Check out more details on their Facebook page. Also want to thank our other great partners. They include AZee Branding Solutions, Corey Shook & Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Nichols Painting, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, the Shiawassee County Fair, and ALS of Michigan. You know, I have a sponsor spotlight before I move on. I know ALS, you know, it's one of those terrible diseases, and I know it kind of hit home to you recently, didn't it, Jared?
Yeah, so thanks for reminding me. I think that last week I didn't want to forget that. So my old substitute teacher, Mr. Richard Vaughn, all-time great guy, one of those. I remember my brothers would like make fun of me and my friends because Mr. Vaughn was like somebody who would talk about all the time. Like, what's up with this guy? Like, you guys freaking talk about him like he's like God, basically. I'm like, he just was an awesome dude. He still is. And I saw he unfortunately has ALS. He just posted that on Facebook. So I just wanted to send thoughts and prayers to him. I mean, an all-time great guy. Just the definition of a person where when you see him, it's a day brightener. So Mr. Vaughn, I actually played golf with him a few times since I graduated high school, and I haven't done it with any of my former teachers, but I did that with him. So just a great guy. So just want to send out thoughts and prayers to him.
Amen. Well, you know, can you imagine when you go to the doctor and they do the series of tests and, you know, you're thinking it might be something, and then all of a sudden they come back with that diagnosis. You know, it's just a gut punch to the nth degree. And, you know, my closest friend ended up dying of it after a couple of year battle, and it's terrible. It affected him mentally too. A lot of times it doesn't, but then another close friend also died of it. And it's just one of those diseases that they make, you know, they try to make headway, but it just seemed to be so slow.
Yeah. It's really sad because I know you've talked about it a lot, Ted, and what you saw your friend go through. So sorry to hear about that with your friend. You can call him your substitute teacher. Sure. Sound like he's your friend, Jared. Yeah. So, you know, sorry to hear about that, but it is just because you know that they're pouring millions and millions of dollars of donations and into research, and they have the smartest scientists and researchers. It's kind of similar to cancer in a sense.
Yeah.
And just one of those things they've figured out quite a bit with cancer that they can, you know, take care of some stuff, but some of these things they just can't figure out a cure, you know, like just a cure. And it's really crazy. So, well, I know the ALS of Michigan, I was just going to say, I know you've mentioned it. They have, you know, we have them on Facebook. Sometimes we share stuff. They have like golf scrambles. They have other volunteer events like walks and stuff. So, I don't know if that's something that you want to get involved in. I know they have a ton of events if you want to try and help out.
Well, 100%. And then what's interesting and cool about that organization is, you know, they're not sending their funds for research. That's the ALS Association in general. Okay. But what they do in Michigan is they help families, you know, like build ramps and help them in many ways, you know, like respite help. And, you know, it's a great organization. We're glad to be a part of it. By the way, our sponsor spotlight tonight is Jacobs Insurance. They are locally owned and operated, live and work in the area, and they offer just a wide variety of policies for homes, businesses, and vehicles. And, of course, our proud sponsor of the Prep Spotlight. You can find more details online at jacobsinsurance.com. And what a great organization they are, and definitely customer service #1 for sure. Well, let's catch up a little bit, fellers. Jared and I were involved in another one of our family weddings. You know, these September weddings right during prime football time. And I'm guilty myself. My wedding anniversary was September 26th. So
that's actually very surprising that you had a wedding during football season.
Yeah, it just shows you how much in love I was at that time, right? I still am, by the way. But I was going to say
Yeah, go. I mean, I'll just say, like, man, it's like I don't even know what more to say about weddings. I feel like it's like this summer, it's been the theme of our catch-up segment. So I don't even know what else to add other than it was just a great time. What do you have?
Well, I got something to add. It's interesting. We've all been there. We've all been in the situation, whether it's at a wedding, whether it's at a bar, whether it's at a party, where we've had too much to indulge, right? And at this particular gathering, there was a couple individuals, I'll let them remain unnamed, but they had a blast, and it was kind of fun. It was family members, and it was kind of fun in one way watching them, and then another way it was like, is he going to be all right?
it was a great time, man. I don't ever hate it when people cut it loose. Why? What's the worst? And nobody gets hurt. You get home as long as you got a designated driver.
Right.
Send it, man. I'm game for it. It definitely improved my night. So I had no faults with it.
I always think too, the big thing, you said it, the big thing, as long as they're being safe and they get home safely, or, sometimes with weddings, like at my wedding reception, where we had it, like there was a hall, but it was in a hotel. So we had rented out a ton of the rooms for guests. So a lot of people were doing what you're talking about, letting loose, and then they were able to just walk upstairs, just get up to their room. So that's always a big part too. But no, weddings are also the time to do that, especially if it's open bar, especially, have a good time. You're maybe seeing some family and friends you haven't seen in years, and you're celebrating love, and it's football season and all that. So safely, of course, have a good time.
Yeah, I have no problem with it either. I would just have one recommendation. Be careful if you're going to get drunk and then top it off with 2 or 3 hits off a very potent doobie.
Yeah, that'll do it. That really is what would make the room swirl. That's all that always kind of comes to the equation, man. It's brutal. Here's the thing is weed nowadays. I don't even know if you call it weed. It's like you probably dabbled at least at some points in your life since it's become legalized. Ted, I would think, maybe not. Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to be ripping that and saying this is like not what I remember when I was a kid. Like this is 10 times more potent.
Oh man, last time I did it, it was actually on a boat ride, and the person came out, had it with them, and I said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take a couple tokes. That was one toke too many. I mean, I was freaking out a little bit, man. I was spinning around. I'm going, what the hell is happening here?
I don't know. There's different levels, and then there's the edibles and stuff that people think like, I'll just take a bite of this, or I'll just eat this, but you don't realize what you're getting yourself into. So, no, I mean, if a wedding, I feel like, didn't you say, Jared? I might just be thinking of maybe one of my friends or something, but there was a wedding that you went to that like had a weed bar or something. It was like, wasn't there something like that? You guys remember? Did we talk about that?
I kind of remember.
No, I've been to a party where they've had that before. Where it's like a tent out back. I'm like, I'm not gonna go touch that, but I appreciate that it's there.
Maybe I'm just thinking of something else too.
It wouldn't surprise me. I guess I'll say this: it wouldn't surprise me, and it probably has happened. It's not ringing a bell to me at this point, but it wouldn't surprise me. That's pretty common, it seems like, almost nowadays.
We were at another up north wedding. I don't think you were at this one, Jared. And I remember there was a group of people gathered around. You could obviously tell, they were having some fun over there with some weed. I took one look. They had a beaker, and they were lighting the bottom of this beaker with a propane torch. And I said, nope, that's not for me.
I was going to say, it sounds like something else was going on.
Totally different nowadays, man. It's totally different nowadays. It's kind of mind-boggling. It probably, if like some scientists really broke it down, they're probably like, this isn't even THC anymore. This is something, this whole nother like genetic monster, like Jurassic Park style or something. So I don't know, but it is all great. Charlie boy, every time I'm up there, man. I mean, Ted, I think about you, man, in retired life, man, like Manitou is magical, but wow. I mean, when you're up there and you look at those rolling hills, behind the altar where this wedding was at, and you're in this magical barn where there's water, 3 minutes up the road, Lake Michigan right there. It's like, I'm like, I don't know how you beat this, man. This is God's country up here.
No, it's beautiful. And I haven't been to that area in a little while, to Lake Charlevoix. And we had breakfast on Sunday in Boyne City, right on the water. Oh, nice. And then Jessica and the family stayed at Boyne Mountain Resort, which is something else that we're definitely planning on staying there again sometime. That's where they have the Sky Bridge, Yep. Yeah, very beautiful part of the country.
I was going to make a confession as you were talking about that, Jared. We've talked about this on the podcast numerous times, that summer is my season. I could, if it was summer year round, that's part of why I really like living down here in North Carolina. I mean, it's, we don't have the winters like up in Michigan. I still like winter. I like the snow, but summer is my jam for sure. I don't know if I'm getting old. Maybe Ted, you can tell me you had a change too or something, but I'm starting to lean more towards fall. Obviously I love fall because of football, and fall is just great in general and stuff, but something about this fall, because I don't know, maybe this summer was just brutal with how hot it was.
Here's why. I know exactly why. You're a father, you have kids, they're back in school.
That might be a part of it. I'm getting a lot of days where I drop them off at school and daycare. Then I have a few hours till I have to go to work. So I can just kind of chill. But Yeah, hearing you talk about Northern Michigan, that's the first thing I think of. Northern Michigan, just Michigan in general, but Northern Michigan in the fall, before it really starts to turn, get cold and stuff, is as close to perfect as you can get. When it's like low 70s, no humidity, just sunny, beautiful. It's awesome. Even my parents.
That's exactly right. That's what this wedding was. It was like almost like a summer day. It was. If you were planning a fall wedding up north, temperature's going to drop a little bit more a little quicker than down south here. It was picture perfect, and it was in the true starting. Football's on the TV. I mean, we left the wedding. I caught the very end of Penn State, Oregon. It's like you're exactly when the month of September is the best month of the year. And I'm kind of with you on the fall thing, man. It's this little window right here of about 2 months. You don't beat it. You know.
Yeah, I tend to agree as well. I mean, it's perfect weather. I was out mowing the lawn today, and I'm going, man, this is awesome. I mean, it wasn't overly humid at all, and it was perfect temperature. So anyway, congratulations to Caitlin and Casey. Just a great wedding, great time. One somber thing before we move on is this tragic shooting in Grand Blanc. I mean, now Grand Blanc, Michigan, just down the road in the national news, a terrible shooting incident. I mean, they burnt down the church. I mean, what a wild situation there. And, the only comment I'll make is it goes on and on and on. And they got to figure out something with mental health and guns. That's all I'll say. Yeah. I mean, it's just unreal.
I mean, it sounds like he drove his car into the church, and then that started the fire, and then he let loose. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a ton of the details, maybe as much as you guys do, but sounds like he was a former Marine.
Yep.
And obviously had access to guns like you're talking about. And yeah, I mean, we're not going to get into a big debate about that stuff, but it just something needs to be done. I mean, this stuff it's just happening too often, and it seems like it's too easy to do stuff like this. And it's
every week, it seems like I don't have the solve for it, but it's it's like mental health. How do we help these people out?
Yeah, I mean, I do know this is before your guys' time, but they used to have institutions where the severely mentally disabled people at least had a place where they'd get taken care of. And the problem was they weren't getting taken care of. People were cutting corners, and so they just let them all go on the streets. And it's just been a vicious cycle, probably a 40-year cycle. I don't know what the answer is either. I think the best answer is really study up on who you're going to vote for. Push your politicians on what your agenda is you want, and then just go from there and hope for the best. Because I still do think, and I've mentioned it here before, our country overall, the majority of Americans are good, decent people. It's just, you hear these other stories in the news all the time. That's
well, I think, again, we don't need to get super deep into this, but it seems like most people are generally in the middle. Most topics are, in the middle, but you hear so much about the extremes on either side.
Right.
That it makes you think that's more
they make
common
themselves heard. That's
is.
for damn sure.
Right.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, we're going to be moving on here. We're going to talk a little baseball. And by the way, I got to tell you guys, and I don't know if you've heard from people, but I've had a lot of great comments about our recent interview with the Baseball 100 author, Joe Posnanski. I mean, I've had people say that's the best interview we've had. So, I mean, it's good. And we're going to even have more talking baseball because we're going to have special guest Emily Waldon. She's a Detroit Tiger prospect writer covering the Tiger farm clubs. And I'm really interested to hear her perspective on future Tigers, what we got to look forward to in the future. So yeah, talking baseball this time of year is pretty good. I think we might even talk a little Tigers in the wild card, huh?
Well, especially we'll get into it, but as crazy as it is, the Tigers, we're talking about them in the playoffs.
Yes.
We can erase the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a quick little break and let's do exactly that. Talk Tiger baseball and MLB playoffs.
All right,
guys, go ahead, Jared.
Yeah. Just something I got to talk about with this Tigers team before we really dive into the series.
Yeah,
it's what a wild last week it was. We made it. That's all that matters. AJ summarized it best. This team seemed to stay together for the most part, and they're dangerous and ready to roll in October. There's one thing that's bothering me. It's been bothering me since AJ announced it. So Cole Keith, he's inactive this series.
Mm-hmm.
I've bitched about the injuries with baseball so much. I'm not gonna go down that whole rabbit hole today. I understand it, but are we joking with this? With the baseball injuries, man? It's all soft tissue like bullshit. this is a key player for us. This is a top 5 bat for us who's really been pretty consistent for us all year round. He's 4th highest paid player on our team outside of the 1-year deals that we signed this offseason. I mean, take a look at Micah Parsons, for example. This guy has a broken back, and he's signing up for a car crash every play for basically what's going to be a 19-week NFL season. And we have Cole, and I don't think this is a Cole Keith problem. I don't think it's a Tigers problem. I think this is a baseball problem. We treat these guys with kid gloves. They're babies. We treat them like babies. If this was a football player, he would have never taken any time off. This is what the injury is. Right rib cage inflammation. I don't even know what that is. I think of that every time you leave Rivals Taphouse after a great meal. Like, what even is that? Nobody's asking this guy to play
when I crawl out of bed.
Nobody's asking this guy to play 9 innings and make electric Javi Baez type plays in the field. Can he give us a few at bats? Can he hit? I mean, we're asking him to swing a stick. We're not asking him to go collide with offensive linemen like Micah Parsons is. Say what you want, Micah Parsons is playing through a broken back. It's unreal. What is going on? These guys need to toughen up. This is the playoffs, for God's sakes. This is freaking playoffs. We need him. It's a compliment to him. We need him. And he's not playing. He's inactive for the series. Am I crazy? Everyone's been calling me crazy about this. I was bringing it up at work. People were saying, oh, let's see you go play 162 games. Bayhen batted 400 in the postseason. We're fine. I understand that I'm not a pro athlete, but what's going on here? Right rib inflammation, series, top 5 bat, top 4 paid player. You ain't there. Am I crazy?
Right. I feel like this is down Ted. I mean, we're talking about like pitchers back in Ted's days that would go 9 innings every start, and they would go on 3 days rest. And, you hear about when you look at like the numbers of Bob Gibson and Nolan Ryan and some of those old pitchers, and now you got pitch count and these guys can't go on 3 days rest and, all that kind of stuff. It's one of those kind of conversations. I'm always on the side of like, what do they say? There's a difference between hurt and injured. If you're injured, if you flat out cannot play, got it. Cool. But kind of to your point, I don't know how extreme this guy's injury is. Yeah, right rib cage inflammation. Like you said, Ted, I feel like I have that when I bend down to get something out of the fridge anymore. I mean, it's like I don't know. At this point, probably everyone in the major leagues has some sort of little nagging injury. So, how bad is this? Can he swing? Can you at least pinch hit? What Kerry Carpenter at one point last year had that bad hammy, but they basically kept him active just to pinch hit. Go out there and swing the stick, kind of like Kirk Gibson back in the day going out there with a broken leg, basically. So, I don't know, again, we don't know the extreme of it. If he can't go, okay, maybe they're thinking of the long game, but you got to get past this first series. So I would think that you'd want your best players out there.
All hands on deck. And, again, I agree with what you're saying. We don't know the extent of it. We just know what they've reported. But to me, it sounds like you play through that pain. The other thing that bothered me in that series, the last series the Tigers played, Javi didn't play for a couple of games because of a stiff neck. I mean, how serious is that too? When he did get in there, he kind of let him.
Right.
Yeah, and that was a killer to me too, because I've been banging on the drum that Baez is going to come through clutch for us, and I had that same thought when he got scratched in that must-win. Well, we thought it was a must-win game at the time. Since then, he's been good. Like you said, he's been kind of leading us, and he only missed 1 game. The thing with Cole Keith, this has been 2 weeks, and 2 weeks of must-win games that he's been out. Again, I don't even think it's him. I almost wonder if it's administration that's keeping him out. I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that if he could give it a go, he's not playing. But again, I don't know what the rules are with baseball. Whatever they're giving Micah Parsons is a 10 times worse injury, and who is signing up for what is basically a car crash every snap. This guy can't swing a stick a few times. I mean, we need him. It's crazy. We need him. It is what it is. We're going to be without him, it sounds like, according to my buddy Chris Bean, who told me this. We got the J-Hen batting 400 versus Cleveland last season, so I guess we're riding with that. But we're not asking you to storm the beaches of Normandy, man. We're asking you to stand in the box and swing a bat. One time at one key point in this series when we probably would need you. So it is what it is. I guess we're on to the next thing. What are your vibes heading into this series?
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel so bad. I mean, I think we all understand how ugly the last few weeks of the season were, and it was a historic collapse. I mean, that's not hyperbole. It literally was a historic collapse by the Tigers, but they're still in the playoffs. Like, again, we threw this out the last few weeks. If you told us at the beginning of the season they'd be in this position, or whatever the scenario was, if you told us at the beginning of the season they're in the wild card series, going to Cleveland, I think we'd be like, cool, we're in the playoffs. Great. So like that is kind of the point. Get to the playoffs, hopefully healthy. Okay. We just went on about Colt Keith, but for the most part, they're healthy, and see what you can do. You got Tarek Skubal in game 1, who in his 4 starts against Cleveland this year has a .64 ERA with 40 strikeouts and like 28 innings pitched. So you got a good chance there with Skubal in game 1. And then after that, hopefully Flaherty or Casey Mize, whoever they, whatever order they go in, can kind of figure it out too. Obviously, the offense is the big thing, but I'm saying all that to say I feel pretty good. Also, like, people were getting mad at Hinch because of the way that he managed that last game of the season, not letting Riley Green pinch hit at the end of the game. It seemed like he was kind of mailing it in. I highly doubt he was mailing it in. Maybe he told Riley Green, "You're having the day off, no matter what. You are not playing today." So there could have been that conversation, but they also play better at Progressive Field in Cleveland than they do against the Guardians at home. So there could have been a thought like that, like, let's let Skubal start on the road in Cleveland. He's the best pitcher in the AL. Maybe that was the strategy. Who knows? But I feel pretty good. But it's baseball, and the Tigers have been terrible the last month, so they could get swept.
Right. I just, a little strategy wise, I was a little bummed out. I understand resting your guys, but in a game that might have meant something and might have had a home field advantage, and they have Jake Rogers at bat with a couple of critical runners on base, and you got Riley Green sitting there in the dugout, not playing that game. I had a little problem with that.
Yeah. Again, it is one of those things where I just wonder. I kind of see what Matt is saying, where it's like, AJ Hinch told those guys, "You are not playing today. Do not be mentally locked in. Don't watch the game. Don't warm up. Don't." Again, but then when you get to that moment, and I think we're all kind of like, man, like, would it really kill him to just throw Riley out there? So I see both sides of it, and Matt's right. We are better at Progressive. It kind of hurts to say maybe it was best not to be at Comerica for whatever reason. They seem to have our number there, but we seem to have their number at Progressive. So I don't know. I'll take it. I mean, I just can't wait for this. This is a perfect scenario to me. I mean, this is theater. This is rivalry. This is what baseball is about. I love it when these two teams face each other. And it almost in a way reminds me of, it's not, because neither teams are as good as those two teams were, but like the Pistons versus the Bulls back in the Bulls had to get through the Pistons to reach their potential. Like, it's obviously not the same thing, but you got to admit, it feel a little empty. Let's say we make a big run and we had to beat the Guardians, where somebody else beat the Guardians for us. We got to exercise these demons versus this damn team before we can really figure out what this squad is. If you can't beat the Guardians, you're not a World Series team anyway. So in terms of entertainment, I can't wait to watch this series. Is it terrifying? Yes, these guys have our number, but in terms of the theater of it, what more could you want than this matchup? And then also you have Yankees, Red Sox on the other side. It's like just two great matchups with serious blood feud between both these teams. So I'm excited for it. And Ted, you actually said it at the wedding. I think it's a good point. It's like, with how we finished that season, now nobody's expecting anything. It's kind of like just going to be free again, kind of like what we did in the playoffs last year. It's like, in a way, this Guardians series and how we finish the season, if we can find a way to win this series, and most importantly, we just got to win game 1. If we can win game 1, I'm feeling amazing. This could be a springboard for this team. I really do think that. It's like, then they get the confidence, they exercise the demons of the Guardians. They're playing with house money, and they're feeling confident once again. So I don't know. I like the vibes of how it's just shaping up in this series. I think the Tigers are going to win this series.
Yep. I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal would be Skubal going like 8 innings, Vest coming in, getting the close, and just make it easy on the bullpen in game 1. So then the last 2 games you can do whatever you got to do to get those wins. But we'll see. I mean, it's playoffs. You never know.
Who would you guys trust more? Gun to your head, Mize or Flaherty? Game 2. I want Flaherty. I think Flaherty is going to pitch his best outing of the year. I think he actually pitched pretty well last week versus Cleveland. Just a couple bad pitches. Maybe it's been a story for him, but I thought he had good stuff. I trust Flaherty. I'm rolling with Flaherty in game 2. I think he's going to have his best outing of the year. To me, it's just the key of when do you pull him. If he gives you 5 great innings, I don't full inch that you pull him when it's time. Sometimes I feel like we left him out maybe an inning too long, and it's kind of caused. To me, I think it's 5 great innings from Flaherty. I also wouldn't hate seeing Melton at some point. I think Melton, my buddy Chris Bean, will give him one more shout out. He's kind of explaining it. It's kind of true. It's like he almost seems like too much of like not, an idiot isn't the right word, but like just happy to be there. Where it's like he doesn't feel the pressure of these moments. Like he pitched great in that Cleveland series. I trust Melton as well. Who do you guys like, Flaherty or Mize?
I like Mize. I'll go opposite. I mean, he's coming off a real good performance on Friday night. They should have won that game, but I think he's ready to step up into that role. I wouldn't kill me though if Flaherty goes, but I would go with Mize.
Yeah. I would just lean Flaherty just because of his run with the Dodgers last year. But Mize has been good too. So
it's a good problem. It could be like the Mets. We could be the Mets right now and not playing with that payroll.
3 1 o'clock games though. How do you guys feel about the 1 o'clock afternoon start? I mean, for a retired guy Ted, no big deal.
Here's what's kind of I'm loving it too. It lined up where our office is down the next 2 days. So it's like it lined up perfectly where I have 2 days off. So I'm just like, all right, I guess I'll just watch these games. But it's a killer, man. The same thing with the Astros last year. I feel bad for people who have to work. It sucks, but I get it. You want that wall-to-wall baseball. It just would be nice. Maybe you mix it up. Maybe one of those games is a night game, but it is what it is. That's how they do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It would have been nice to mix it up, but it is what it is. And, we got some afternoon baseball Cubs style this week. So go get them Tigers. That's for sure. All right. Do we want to stay on baseball or move on?
Just got one more thing on this. I just might as well throw what I'm thinking. These could be all way wrong and idiotic. These are my quote unquote heroes. I think that we're going to see this series. Hopefully I'm right. Skubal, we need this. I mean, this is more so just out of necessity, more so than I truly, my heart to heart believe it. I mean, he's going to go 7 scoreless.
He has to.
I don't know if I truly trust it, but it just has to happen. Flaherty, like I said, I think we get 5 great innings, maybe 1 earned run. Melton, I think he's going to have 3 solid innings in this series when we need it the most. 3 scoreless innings for Melton. Baez, I've been saying it all year. He's going to come through. He's going to have a game-saving defensive play, and he's going to plus AIs this series. Wenzel, kind of a similar vibe of like Melton, and I also think this about Jahan as well. I just think he's got good vibes. I think those guys who don't seem to too seriously, kind of the happy-go-lucky type players, I think he's going to have a big series, going to have a big swing. Same thing with Jahan. I just like his vibes since he's been pulled up. So those are my Skubal, Flaherty, Melton, Wenzel, Jahan, and Baez. I think those are going to be the guys that we look back on and say they came through for us. I hope.
What are your thoughts on Torque? He's kind of had some struggles with guys.
I don't know what to make of him. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes like 0 for 20. I wouldn't be surprised if he hits like 2 home runs. Like that's why I don't know. I have no vibe on him. What do you guys think? Honestly,
I mean, he's pretty boom or bust. He's the guy. Like you said, that'll go 0 for 5 with 4 Ks. But if he's up there in the bottom of the 9th, he might knock one out. I mean, he just has that potential. I was thinking guys like Gleyber Torres. I mean, I really don't think the Tigers are going to bring him back. So he's essentially in a contract year. He's going to get paid next year. I don't think the Tigers are going to pay him. And he's going to be wanting to prove himself out there. And honestly, I know the Cy Young isn't decided in the postseason. I think Skubal needs to prove that he is the best pitcher in the AL because the Tigers have lost. He hasn't gotten the loss, but they've lost 4 of his last 6 starts. So, I mean, that's not all his fault because the offense isn't scoring runs, but he nedes to go out there and be like, hey, reminder, I am the best pitcher in the AL. Right. So I think Skubal needs to go out there and do it.
Especially after, I mean, his lunch with legs, Jeff Saturday style, would be like kind of the poster board of this. Like, let's say they lose, they play bad game 1, they lose game 2, they get swept by the Guardians. It's like that moment would be what you remembered from this season. And it's a bummer because he has been money all year, but that was just such an egregious kind of laughable play that was what's remembered if he has a dud tomorrow, I think.
Absolutely. And it'd be nice to see Carpenter get back in the flow too. He's got the big bat. He takes a big swing. He's just got to connect on it. And I do tend to agree with you, man. I think Torres is out of here after this year. But the only good thing about that is they got some pretty good infield prospects in the minors that we'll be talking with our next guest about. Emily Waldon will be joining us here on the podcast. We'll talk some Tigers minor league baseball right after this.
We now want to welcome in Emily Waldon. You can follow her on X at Emily C. Walden. She's a Detroit Tigers prospect writer for Baseball America, contributor to Just Baseball Media, as well as the Tigers minor league report. I was going to ask about that. We've had Rogelio Castillo on. So you must know Rogelio.
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
He and Chris are longtime friends of mine.
Cool.
And came on board with him this year just to help them out on the content front. And we had a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah. He's an awesome guy, especially if you want to keep up on your minor league prospects in the farm system for the Tigers. And same with you. So yeah, we wanted to bring you on, obviously, and just kind of talk about some stuff that you've been doing with the Tigers, with the minor league system. So yeah, thanks for taking some time to do this for us.
Of course. Yeah, always a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'd seen some of your stuff, some of your tweets and everything when following, again, the Tigers and their prospects, their farm system. But I really came across your stuff. We had Dan Hasty on a couple weeks ago. He's the radio voice for the West Michigan Whitecaps. Obviously, I would assume you know Dan, and it was a really cool conversation with him talking about the Whitecaps. When we had him on, it was before they had made their playoff run. The Whitecaps have since won the Midwest League Championship, and you were following them along the way. So can you just kind of give us your recap of following along the Whitecaps and really what was a historic season for them?
Gosh, I don't think any of us really actually knew just how good this team was going to be. There was a number of guys coming back that were sort of poised for a breakout year. You had seen some, kind of preview of what they could potentially start to do, but they just hadn't quite gotten to that point yet. And I think the thing that really sort of stood out to me the most was it reminds you that it takes an entire roster to win games. So you can have big name prospects, you can have guys that are, ranked, in the top 5 in the country, amongst minor league players. And that team just raised the bar. It's almost like they forgot how to lose at a certain point. And seeing the guys who sort of stepped up, especially when more of the top end prospects did get promoted, they ended up having a better second half than they did the first half. And that's no disrespect to the other players whatsoever.
Right.
It was more these lesser known names who said, hey, we're all on board with this vision. The vision hasn't changed just because the roster looks a little different, which is very common in minor league baseball. But the fact that they still embraced that and said, no, we still have the same goal as before, and we're going to pursue that, just speaks to the depth and also the leadership on that team. The coaching staff with Tony Capicelli and his support staff, incredible. That's really the best way to put it, incredible.
Looking ahead to next, and obviously we will talk about the Tigers with a big series coming up starting tomorrow against the Guardians. But looking ahead to next year, what do you think our expectations should be heading into next season with McGonigal and Clark? When do you think we're going to see those guys in a Tigers uniform? Is it going to be next year? Could it be out of spring training? What do you think?
I think the opportunity for both to break camp could potentially come out of spring training. There was something an executive told me one time which stuck with me. And he said, if you can hit, we'll find a place for you. So I think a lot of teams do prioritize the ability to hit over defense, because if you have a consistent bat, every team wants a consistent hit tool. And obviously McGonigal, there's really nothing left for him to prove. I think we all saw that by the numbers this year. Clark's been working on, I would say, just a little fine tuning on some things. Obviously the athleticism is more than visible. He's come leaps and bounds in his plate discipline, in his power numbers. He actually started hitting the ball harder once he got to AA, which I found interesting because his contact rate with West Michigan was very, very impressive, but it's almost like he's sized up the Eastern League pitching to the point where he could push his power numbers a little bit. And I thought that was pretty cool as far as his development goes.
We'll talk other prospects and more baseball, but I'm a little curious about Emily. What brought you into baseball journalism?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely unorthodox, my story. Didn't go to school for it. So not your typical journalism degree. Grew up around the game. I'm a total daddy's girl. My dad's a huge baseball fan. And so it kind of started out with me just saying, if he wants to do it, I want to do it. And I started to realize my fandom at the time was getting more pulled towards, why does that pitcher throw that way? Why does that guy hit that way? Why does he stand that way at the plate? And I would just pepper my dad with questions. My dad's like, I mean, I don't know. So he kind of learned alongside with me, but I feel like I always had sort of a bend towards just the mechanic side of it, the scouting side of it. And the minors just made sense. I didn't have a goal to get in the minors. Like, I actually, when I first had my opportunity, I went, does anybody actually want to hear about the minors?
Right.
So at the time when I started, minor league conversation was not a super common thing, especially around the Tiger system, because it was bad. It was tough. And so me breaking in at the time that I did, I think was really cool, because there wasn't girls doing what I was doing. So that sort of allowed me kind of a unique position. There were a lot of girls in the major league level who were doing reporting and different stuff like that, but I was kind of the odd man out, and I got to sort of carve my way into it. And here we are 11 years later.
Well, let me do one quick follow-up on that since you brought it up. As a woman, a baseball writer, have you faced any major challenges that you could share with us?
Many.
We got the time.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lessening of that over time, and I think it just goes to show that when you can prove your longevity, that people are going to go, okay, she's serious. Like, she's going to stay. She's here to stay. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest one early on was getting accused of chasing players and going, you're just here to meet a guy. You're just here to, hook up with somebody. You're just here to, a cleat chaser for people who aren't familiar with the term.
Right.
And it took me, I would say, at least a good 2 to 3 years before the comments started to become less and more people started saying, oh, she actually knows her stuff. Like, this is cool. Let's see what she can do. But again, it wasn't normal what I was doing. There wasn't a lot of women, I should say, doing what I was doing. Right. So it was cool for me because I got to sort of open that door a little bit more for women, saying, hey, come into minor league baseball. Like, there's really cool stories to tell, and there's cool experiences to be had. And now obviously we're seeing a lot more of that now.
No, that's definitely awesome. And it's a shame. It should have never been that way. It's, that we don't have to get into the rabbit hole of that. It's a shame that it was ever that way, some of that stuff that was going on, but it is cool to see that things have changed and you see a lot more women in prominent roles, whether it's calling play-by-play, doing color analysts for games, or covering sidelines, whatever. It is really cool to see, especially as a girl dad. I have a daughter, so it's very cool for me to think about the opportunities that she's going to have down the road. I wanted to ask you about covering minor league baseball, maybe versus covering the big club, if you want to say that. Like if you were a beat writer for the Tigers, maybe the difference in that. Talking to Dan Hasty, he was talking about how on minor league games they have a little more, I guess, maybe leeway to like have some fun, because he was basically saying, if people are tuning in to us to listen to a Whitecaps game, let's have some fun. Let's kind of keep them engaged. You talked about the stories. You probably have some players, some really, really cool stories. Think about like a guy like Bull Durham, the movie Bull Durham, lifetime minor league player. Maybe you have some other stories, a guy that just came out of nowhere and he's trying to make his way to the bigs. Can you just talk about maybe like how cool it is to cover a minor league team, and just maybe how it's probably different than calling a major league baseball club with the stories and maybe some of the different things that you can follow?
Yeah, I always call it a preview, because you're getting that exposure to stories that just haven't been told yet, outside of the names of like former big league players whose sons are coming up and starting to get recognized. And I think one of my favorite stories from that front, I've actually got two, but I would say one of my favorites, I had a bunch of contacts that I developed in the Dominican. This is, probably 2016, I think, at the time. I got a video of this young kid taking batting practice, and they said, you've got to keep an eye on him. He's probably going to get drafted by the Blue Jays. And I was like, who is this? So I started digging in a little bit more. It was Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was really talking about him. I mean, not to the degree of big exposure stateside. There was obviously conversations going on in the Dominican about it, but I started to do a little digging and found out that he was going to come to Lansing to participate in a home run derby with the Lansing Lugnuts. And I was able to get out there, got a connection, got out there, shot some video. The video went completely viral. I got contacted by Vlad Sr. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like reliving my childhood. I'm like, I'm talking to Vladimir Guerrero.
Right.
It was so surreal. And he just sent me the nicest note. He said, thank you for talking about my son. Thank you for giving him exposure. And then I had the privilege of pretty much covering him, Bo Bichette, Dustin May, trying to think of some of the other names who have come through, Joe Adele, Brandon Marsh. Like the list just goes on and on and on. And meeting guys like him, Fernando Tatis Jr. at that age, it's really a preview. It's a preview of what fans can expect. These players are so accessible in comparison to once they get to the majors. So that's why I'm always pushing to people, go to minor league games. Like you will not regret it. It's such a fun experience.
Out of all your players you've covered, any really cool stories you can share with us?
Yeah, I think my favorite would definitely have to be watching the journey of Tarik Skubal. As you guys know, and pretty much anybody who follows baseball knows, you are judged by your draft slot. And Tarik was obviously not first round, second round. He wasn't even in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And watching the way that he sort of took on that mentality of proving people wrong every opportunity he got. I used to have scouts who would contact me and they'd go, why do you keep beating this drum with Tarik Skubal? Like, he's not durable. He had Tommy John surgery. They're like, he doesn't have the velocity. He can't go high in his pitch counts. And at the time, I was very much like, an entry level type scout for the evaluation stuff that I was doing. And I remember telling my scouting mentor, I said, there's something about this guy. The way he throws, I can't put my finger on it. I didn't have the confidence to really stand behind it, but I'm like, guys, I'm telling you, like it was so frustrating. And he said, if that's what your gut's telling you, he said, stick with it. And I used to send Tarik these texts before his starts in the minors and just say, hey, you've been proving people wrong this far. Keep proving them wrong. Keep proving them wrong. And we kept up that tradition to the point where he's winning the Triple Crown. He's winning the Cy Young. He's winning all of this stuff. And I just texted him the other day and I said, hey, you reset now. It's the postseason. Keep proving people wrong. So that really is the coolest thing I've gotten to watch just in the stories I've gotten to tell, because he's never been someone who will just take someone else's opinion. He goes, no, I know I'm more than that. I know I'm meant for more than that. And obviously he's proved that to everybody.
No, I think that's probably one of the cooler stories that we've ever heard from a guest on this podcast. Obviously right now, because the Tigers are about to start their playoffs. Yep. Are you sure the movie Trouble with the Curve wasn't about you? I mean,
and we could tell a lot of backstories on this, but fun fact, I like to share scout stories. My scout friends are some of the most depressing, jaded people that you will ever talk to. Just because these are guys who've been around the game for 20, 30 years, and they've seen the low points, they've seen the high points. Nothing surprises them anymore. Yep. They hated that movie.
Oh, really?
They said, they were like, the inaccuracies in that movie were far too many to count. And they're like, that is so inaccurate. You don't do this. They don't do that. And they're just like going down this list of things. I thought it was entertaining.
I mean, as far as movies go, Clint Eastwood, and it was entertaining. But I could see that because people have similar criticisms of Moneyball. They say Moneyball actually, as entertaining and great as Moneyball was, it was fairly inaccurate with what actually happened with the Oakland A's that year.
And the crazy thing, going back to just the Tarik Skubal thing, most scouts didn't have him higher than a number 3 or number 4. And a few of them even said a number 3 might be generous, but they're like, there's no way he's an ace.
Wow.
There's no way he's going to be one of those guys that gets talked about. And here we are.
Here we are. One of the best pitchers, probably about to win his second Cy Young. And I think that's probably one of the cooler things with covering minor leagues. We've talked about it, how much we love, the three of us, we love high school football and high school sports in general, but it's you build different relationships, right? I mean, like you said, you meet these guys when they're trying to come up and make a career for themselves. And then maybe once in a while you stay connected with one that turns into the best pitcher in the major leagues. But
and I had one over the weekend, if I can squeeze in one more story and talk your guys' ear off.
Sure.
Jose Fermin, he was somebody I met in the Cleveland system. When we met at the time, he was in high A with Lake County in the Midwest League. And he and a couple other players were kind of doing enough to get their name talked about. And the thing with him, and this, again, one of my favorite things about the minors, he was always told, you're too small. You're never going to hit for power. You're never going to be an everyday guy. You're never, just listing off all of the areas that he was falling short.
Right.
He is now with St. Louis. The Cardinals picked him up. And the guy that was consistently told you will never be a big leaguer, I got to watch him play for the Cardinals over the weekend. So awesome. that was pretty cool, just getting to go down and talk to him and give him a hug. And I mean, I haven't seen him since, probably 2019. Right. I think was the last time I saw him. So that's baseball. That's baseball, and you never know when you're going to run into somebody, but I would not trade those stories for anything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like to imagine it's like when you see these guys, when they're 18 and they haven't proven anything to anybody, when they're making like their big league debut, it's like we'll see the mom and the dad in the stands like reacting every pitch or every at bat. It's like I would imagine it's somewhat similar to you, like at home watching some of these guys make their debut.
100%.
Pretty amazing to hear that side of it.
100%. I always tell people, I said I feel like a proud big sister because, especially with the Whitecaps team, this year too. I got to see some of these guys at their lowest low points and getting to work their way back up to that level and accomplish that. Like, it did make me emotional at points because you see the effort and the energy that goes into this, and to achieve that goal is just such a special thing to witness.
You have a unique perspective on, like you said, you've been following a lot of these guys since they were 18 years old, just drafted. Do you have any takes on or any vibes on this upcoming series against the Guardians? How do you see it playing out? Hopefully it's a Tigers win. What do you think?
I have learned that no matter how much forecasting you do when it comes to Detroit and Cleveland series, it is literally you roll the dice and you just go whatever happens. And I think it's honestly going to come down to who can capitalize first. Obviously, the Tigers did a lot of things right early in the year. We saw that by their record. We saw that by the way that they just sort of steamrolled ahead of everybody right off the bat. You can't discount the Guardians' ability to capitalize off of other teams' mistakes. And don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they have like the worst batting average in the league this season, something like that. Something along the lines of one of the lowest. And you take guys like Stephen Kwan, who is a Tiger killer. And I tell people, I'm like, I'm a big fan of Stephen, just the way he plays. The way he plays is so electric and it's so scrappy. But guys like him, obviously Bo Naylor, he can sometimes be a little spotty offensively, but a lot of abilities there. It's going to come down to who makes the first move and who can get that momentum ahead of the other right away. But it's always a good series. You never know what's going to happen.
No, we were talking about it already, and it's an awesome series. And then with Red Sox Yankees on the other side for the AL, I mean, it's really setting up. Used to be the Indians, Cleveland and Detroit, the baseball. It is a really good rivalry. I mean, it may not be on the national stage like Yankees, Red Sox, or some of these other ones, but Cleveland versus Detroit really is a good series. I wanted to ask you, and then last one for me, I don't know if the other guys have another one, but you talked about how much you love covering minor leagues. Are you planning to stick in the minor leagues, or do you want to at some point get the call to the majors, I guess, from the minor leagues, or what is, I guess, your career prospects?
Yeah, I've learned to never say never, just because, like I said, I didn't have a plan to be in the minors, and so I don't think I really expected to fall in love with it the way that I did. It would really just come down to the logistics of it. But I
Right.
do know I want to be around the game in some capacity, and so I think just continuing to build relationships and network and really kind of keep myself established within the game when that door opens, I'll definitely consider it. But it would be hard to walk away.
Yeah.
It would be hard to walk away just because it's been really a second family, especially through my health journey a couple years ago that I went through. You never know how much baseball is a family until you
Mhm.
go through something like that, and just to see the way that everyone rallies around you. And I think that's baseball in general. So something I'm very grateful to be a part of.
Well, you do an awesome job with it. And before we let you out of here, a couple quickies. Matt brought it up first. Bull Durham. How many times have you watched that flick?
I actually have only seen it a couple times, to be completely honest. I think my higher favorites on the list, I love 42. I thought
Oh, yeah.
42 was a great one. 61, we're just going to name off movies that
Absolutely.
have numbers in the title. My dad was a big Yankee fan. So my dad grew up in the Mantle era,
Nice.
with all those guys, and so he would tell he would tell us a lot of his stories about how he used to destroy Mickey Mantle cards, and we would just basically cry and be like, Dad, do you know how much that would be worth now?
Right.
But we would watch that, and then obviously The Sandlot. You know, you got to
Oh,
go
yeah.
with The Sandlot.
Love the Sandlot.
Ted calls himself Benny the Jet
I was
Rodriguez.
Benny the Jet in our Sandlot. Absolutely. It's documented. Just a little sidebar. Most people maybe not know, but part of the fact was that 61 was filmed in Tiger Stadium. They made it look like Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
And to tie into our podcast, a young man from our high school was a catcher for the opposing team in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I
So
don't
how
think I
about
knew
that?
that side of it.
Yeah,
Nope.
we can fill you in on tidbits.
Brian Osborne, he had one line. I think it was something like, "Oh, it's gone" or something like that. When somebody hit a home run. I haven't seen that movie, but I definitely will check it out now.
Yeah, it was when Roger Maris hit number 61. He was the catcher.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good flick. Well, we'll let you out of here with just a promo. Tell our listeners, how to follow you, where to read your stuff, and that type of thing.
Yeah, so I am on Twitter, Emily C. Waldon. On Instagram, Emily Waldon 1, the number 1. And then, yeah, putting stuff out at Baseball America, Just Baseball Media, and then some little moonlighting over at Tigers Minor League Report. So definitely still got a lot of irons in the fire, but relaxing a little bit more.
Well, we appreciate you taking time out and joining us. This has been a lot of fun. We look forward to catching up with you down the road.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time, guys.
All right, guys, that was a lot of fun talking with Emily and getting her perspective on things. And we'll move things now over to football. Michigan State, Ferris State, they had a bye in college, but there was some pretty good games. Like Jared mentioned, we had a Saturday wedding, but had a chance to get back to our headquarters and watch a couple of classic endings with the Penn State game and Alabama, Georgia. There was some good college football, but it was kind of nice to have a breather week where we had byes.
Well, there were a lot of really like sleeper upset type of games with like ranked teams on the road and just ranked versus ranked. So it was almost just a good week to be off if you're Michigan, because it was like, don't get in that mix with all these, potential upsets and everything. But no, there were some great games. I was working the one on ESPN, Iowa State, that we were like, nobody's watching our game right now. Everyone's watching Georgia, right. Bama, and Oregon, Penn State, and we were as well while we were working the game. But I think Penn State, I don't know what to make. I mean, I'm not like the biggest James Franklin fan. I mean, probably if he was our coach, I'd probably like him. It's probably one of those things because he's Penn State's coach. I don't know what to make of him. We've all seen the records of him versus ranked teams, versus top 10 teams and everything. And this was the chance. If you were going to win this game, if you're Penn State, this was the one. I mean, Oregon hadn't played anyone. Dante Moore, now he's like basically the Heisman favorite, the kid from Detroit.
Yeah.
Right.
But, he hadn't won that like big game yet in his career. It's in Penn State. It's a 7:00 whiteout. This was the time to beat a top 10 team if you're James Franklin. And Drew Aller kind of battled them back a little bit, but then he threw, the worst interception possible in the history of college football, possibly. And, they lost again. And it's just, I feel like Penn State's getting to the point where I don't think Alabama fans should get there, because some of them are starting to be out on they got the win. So DeBoer is safe for now, but they were starting to be out on Kalen DeBoer. I don't know what Penn State fans want. Like Ted, you've talked about it with some programs, like with Kirk Ferentz at Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they've kept him this long, because they win 8-9 games every year. Every 3 or 4 years, they actually make a run, 10-11 wins to the national championship. But you never see like a 3-9 type of season out of Iowa.
Exactly.
And that's basically what Penn State is. I mean, it's only one loss. They could still make the playoff this year. Right. But so many people are like, fire Franklin, fire. And, I mean, I say that sometimes too, but it's like, but who are you going to go get? He always has you top 10, top 15. And, maybe hopefully one year this clicks. Thought it'd be this. I honestly thought this might be the year, because they have a lot of guys back, a lot of senior 3, 4, 5 year players on their team. But I always like seeing Penn State lose. I don't know about you guys.
I'm not a Franklin guy, but it's the worst place to be if you're Penn State, where it's, they can't seem to get over the hump. But also, you talk about a program that's benefited from the college football playoff getting expanded. Penn State be in every year. Can they just run the dice or run the table 1 year and get it done? For the longest time, Clemson was kind of that program. It's like, man, they can't ever win the big game. They finally did. I don't think he's Dabo Swinney, and I don't think this is Clemson, but you can't give them. You just can't. It's because who knows what they're signing up for. My God, it could be some dire times after that. And then you look back on these 10 wins and go, the hell do we complain? Right. It's brutal. That was absolutely brutal loss. Dan Lanning seems to be maybe the best regular season coach of all time. And all his post game, I don't know. He's just high on life, I guess. But my God, he was wired in that interview. And I think that's how a lot of people probably were after that full day play college football with some great games. But yeah, I view Penn State kind of similar to USC after that loss to Illinois. It's like the same issues you've had that have plagued you for a few years now again showed their head, and it's you're upset about it, but I guess take some solace in the fact that they battled back and really ugly in Oregon, Penn State. But I'm with you. I'm not a James Franklin guy, but my God, that's another brutal loss to take.
For sure. Well, like you said too, Matt, it's one loss. Look what Ohio State did with their one loss to Michigan, a crushing loss, and then up winning the national championship. So a long way to go yet in the season. Well, before we get off college football, I just got one question of you guys. Maybe it's a silly boomer type of question, but I'm seeing this is really prevalent with skill players, especially in college football, quarterbacks, receivers. No knee pads. They have basically shorts on. Their knees are bare. Do knee pads protect your knee? I don't know. It's just weird for me to see.
No, they do nothing. It's nothingness. I hate it. It's nothingness. And I even first the knee, because if you remember back in probably when you played, Matt, the knee pads were this big. They were
huge.
4 or 5 big. And what are they even protecting? I've never once got hit on the knee, and even if I got a knee-to-knee type play, that little styrofoam pad isn't doing anything.
That's why I wanted to ask your opinion.
And wearing those pants that low, it is so uncomfortable. In high school, I feel like they still make a big deal about wearing those knee pads. So I remember I cut mine to literally the size of a quarter, basically just a hat. But you're riding adrenaline so much during these football games, man. Those dinks and bruises, they're not really affecting you during the game. There's no reason. You look like a clown. Looks like you're wearing rain pants, and they don't do anything. So I'm glad that they're kind of being gone. The funniest thing is when a woman's wearing. It's what in God's green earth could you possibly be needing these for? So it's a good move that those are gone.
Okay. Yeah, well, the funny thing, so Oregon, I don't know if that's the game that you saw, but Oregon seemed like Dante Moore and some other guys on Oregon, they were basically wearing biker shorts. They basically had no pants. They had tiny little shorts on.
Yeah, tight shorts.
So their pants, hiked up. I remember guys in high school cutting the knee pads to make them smaller, because ours were still kind of the bigger ones, when I played. So this is over 20 years ago. And then obviously it has changed since then. We joked at work. You guys probably you'd have the girdle back in the day that you would stuff the pads in, and then you have to slide the girdle on. Or I even remember when I played like Pee Wee, kicks football, they were like the snap. You would snap the pads into your pants.
Horrible.
So obviously we've come a far ways away from that. But the one thing I've seen people say, and I don't really care about this one bit, there is like a code or whatever. Like you're supposed to follow rules of the NCAA for your uniforms. Like, guys have to wear the same cleats. You have to wear the same, for what the team is doing. And I've seen people say that like part of I don't know the wording of it, but you have to have knee pads. You have to have, proper protect. And these guys clearly do not. So I've seen people say like, how are some of these teams getting away with this? Again, I really could not care less about that. I've just seen like, that is kind of interesting. Like if it really is a rule, how are some teams getting away with it and some aren't? But it is kind of funny.
All right. Well, let's leave that there. Let's go to NFL football. The Lions picked up a nice win, and lo and behold, as we record this, they are in first place alone in the NFC North. How about that?
Yeah, after what, week one, everyone was the North is the Packers division. The Lions window has closed, and now the Lions are in first place after that wild game, the Packers tying with the Cowboys. That was kind of crazy. But no, the Lions have done that first game. We talked about it already a few times. Seems like it was such like almost an anomaly. Like they played so well. The 2 weeks after that against the Browns, it was kind of a clunky game. It was a little ugly, a couple turnovers and penalties. There were just a ton of penalties and of course some injuries. It was just a really weird game. The Browns defense is really good, so they did have to battle through that. Gibbs still ended up with basically 100 yards rushing after, it seemed like he was getting just like 2-3 yards a carry.
Touchdown.
But, it's kind of one of those things. You have to win in the NFL. You have to win, whether it's the Browns, one of the worst teams in the league, or you're playing the Eagles. The point you win. And Dan Campbell says it in every one of those post-game locker room. That's 3, or, that's 4, and that's what he said. That's 3. And, it's like that's the point. You win and you get to the next week and you hope to be healthy. I saw some of those injuries like DJ Reed might have to go on the IR, not season ending. So I guess that's good.
That's the important thing. Yep.
Kirby Joseph seems like he's going to be fine. Terrion Arnold, I know people don't like him right now, but seems like he'll be fine. So yeah, hopefully these injuries aren't going to start. I don't know about you guys. When Hutch got the wind knocked out of him,
I was going to bring that up.
Everyone about shit themselves because the way he was curled up on the field was like, that's that leg again. It was like, oh, here we go again.
He grabbed it. He grabbed his leg.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do that. And I think now we've gotten through that first week, and I think we all kind of understand what this team is. It's an improved team from last year. Just get us to the playoffs healthy. I don't care about Trump. I don't care about that. We saw how that almost backfired on us last year, where a team got hot and kind of spanked us. To me, just get healthy. So when you see Kirby Joe going down, it's probably my second favorite player outside of Amon-Ra. It's like that's all you think about. And it's crazy where we're at as Lions fans, where that was a boring game and we kind of take it for granted. But it's hard to win in the NFL, and you take a win any way you can get it. It was ugly. But that's kind of just seems to almost be the Browns' like philosophy and strategy. Let's just muck it up. Hope we get maybe a couple big time turnovers, and we can swing the game, win it, 13-10, like we've seen them do in the past. But it's a win. To me, the biggest storyline through these first 4 weeks is it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, yeah. He's playing the best of any wide receiver in the league right now. I mean, he is. This Eric Woodyard, former 3 Point Podcast guest, tweeted this out. Jared Goff, when targeting Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 87 completion percentage. 10 yards per attempt. And then when he's targeting everybody else, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 73% completion percentage, 7 yards attempt. I mean, he's playing best ball out of anybody. I mean, he's setting like historic numbers to start the year. I think this really is the year that we look back on him and go, oh, this is a Hall of Famer. This guy's going to be get gold jacket. And it's time to start treating him as the number 1 wide receiver in the league. Not in the conversation, not top 5, not top 3. Like, no, with the whole piece of the pie, the health, catching everything, the blocking, the leadership in the locker room. It's just he is the number 1 guy out there right now. Am I wrong?
Not to me, because when I went to Las Vegas in 2023, I had to buy a special jersey. It was number 14. I love the guy.
Right. Yeah, he's a stud. He's breaking like early season records, and yeah, he might not be like the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, 6'4", 6'5", type of receiver. He's as reliable as anyone in the league, and I would take him over any of those guys. And him and Goff have the rapport. So yeah, Megatron is still my favorite receiver. I mean, Barry Sanders is my favorite player on the Lions, but Megatron's my favorite receiver. By the end of St. Brown's career, he might leap Megatron. I don't know.
If he gets a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you're exactly right. In golf, it's their connection. I think that's what Dan Campbell said. It's like every game they're better and better. And now it's 3-4 years where these guys have been doing it. It's just two ultimate processors. Like where Amon-Ra knows where the hole's going to be. Jared Goff knows exactly where Amon-Ra is going to be. And it's just an freaking awesome duo. One thing you got highlighted about the game, I mean, Khalif Raymond. It's funny to think about how hard it is to return punts. He's had 3 punt return touchdowns since 2022, but that's led the NFL in that. And I just thought it was hilarious and perfectly played, where he hands the ball to his wife and they ask him after the game, like, "Wow, what was that about?" He's like, "She's the only one I see. Like, she stands out." Just the ultimate smooth comment. That was just brilliantly thought out. Kudos to him. That was an awesome quote. So I just had to shout that out. I mean, Khalif Raymond, we know what he does. One of the best special teamers in the league. He has been. He just has an ability in those kind of other games where they to play that ice that one.
He's turned himself. He's a solid receiver too. I mean, they used to only use him in little gadget wide receiver reverse type things, but he's a solid, 2 catches a game type of receiver. And then it feels like every punt, it feels like he's this close to breaking every punt. So yeah. And of course, last year he had some injury issues himself. So hopefully he can stay healthy too.
Well, you guys talked also about St. Brown. We know how good he is in this connection with Goff, but Laporta also, he's right there with him. And man, you throw him the ball, he's catching the ball, and he seems to have a knack to get just enough for the first down. We've talked about it before, but Brad Holmes really has struck gold with some of his draft choices, man.
Loaded. Offense is unbelievably loaded. I mean, the fact that T-Slaw isn't getting really any run, and it's just the fact that there's no room for him. The fact that Montgomery is their second back. I mean, top 10 back. It's just they're freaking loaded. It's fun to see. This upcoming week we have the Bengals, and then listen to this stretch from following that. Sunday night at the Chiefs. Monday night versus the Buccaneers. Sunday at 1 home against the Vikings. Then we're at Commanders 4:25 start to get some revenge there, and then Sunday night at Philadelphia. I mean, that's why you love football, man. I mean, that's NFL at its best. We love college football, but when you stretch that and your team's in the Super Bowl picture, I mean, just sit back and enjoy these. Not this week. I mean, hopefully just survive with a win versus the Bengals, but that 5 games starting on 12 to 11-16, you can't leave your TV for that.
Nope. No, it's going to be a great stretch. And before we move on from NFL and the Lions, it was just released. The Super Bowl halftime entertainment is ready to go. Are we saving that for Tedertainment, or you want to talk about it?
Save that for Tedertainment.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I just realized that when I was teeing it up.
That's all right.
Cut that part out too.
That's all right.
All right. Well, let's. Do we want to jump right into a prep spotlight or take a break?
Yeah, you want to throw some prep spotlight stuff out there?
Yeah. All right. Were we taking a break there, or just including it?
No, I think just include it.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's finish this football part with the prep spotlight presented by the Jacobs Insurance Agency, local, independent, and trusted. And we had the big game on Friday night. Owasso over Corunna, 34-14. Definitely a closer game than the final score had. I mean, after 3 quarters, it was 21-14. So it was a good game for the Trojans. Trojan senior quarterback Liam Patrick had 3 touchdown passes and a touchdown run to go along with a 34-yard strip and score to seal it. Hell of a game for that young man. Cavaliers' Ruger Zeman did his part, though, to keep Corunna in it. Just under 200 yards rushing, 25 carries. Was also the leading tackler for CHS. I mean, like I said, the score was much closer than the final showed. I mean, Corunna had 308 total yards, Owasso 376. First downs, Corunna had 15-14. The third down conversions killed them a little bit. They were only 1 of 9, where Owasso was 5 of 10. But it was a heck of a high school football game in a great crowd at Wilman Field. It was fun to be a part of that as a third mic.
I listened to the whole thing. It sounded like, man, the swinging play, and this is football. It's 2 or 3 plays where you look back and if that could have just been different, it's maybe a different story. I mean, Owasso leading 21-14, 4th and 16. It's 4th and goal, and just maybe a coverage breakdown. I don't know what happened. I haven't seen the replay. Just a coverage breakdown. Owasso scores 28-14. A couple plays later, strip sack 30-14, and that's all she wrote. But that 4th and 16, that was a dagger.
that was a dagger, especially since the play before was a touchdown score on the very same play, and Owasso was flagged for a penalty. So they ran the same exact play and then scored the TD. So, though Corunna has, they played a good, solid game. Maybe it's something that Coach Beldiga can build upon. Well, I only got one other thing. Owasso 4-1, solidly in the playoff picture. They take on Goodrich. They're 5-0 and as good as always. They showed that the Clio thing is a little bit of a mirage. 65-14 they downed Clio, and Marsh and Jacoby Legat 301 yards, 4 touchdowns, all in the first half, and they march into Wilman Field Friday night.
Wow,
that program rolling, man. I can't believe how good they've gotten in the last 5 years. Goodrich is a perennial power, and it's pretty rare that you say that about a Michigan school. You got to really be doing something right. And I know Coach Alford, right? Allward, that's right. I mean, he's got the pro experience with Tampa Bay Bucks. Before that, Nebraska with the black shirts back in the way back days. So, legit coach here at this point. If he hasn't won that in the last few years, it's time for him to get his Coach of the Year award. To be honest, they're one hell of a program,
hell of a coach. And Trojans will have their hands full, but who knows? They're playing with some confidence right now. So we'll see if they can stay close or maybe pull an upset. Right. All right, that's all I have in the prep spotlight. Do you have anything, Jared?
Yeah, I just got one thing real quick. I mean, it's almost more college football / high school. I mean, we've taken some blows with top basketball talent leaving, going to other states, but at some point you got to celebrate what talent we're seeing on Saturdays from Michigan. I mean, 4 Michigan QBs are actually lighting up the college football world right now. I mean, Dante Moore, MLK, we saw him. You said he may be leading the Heisman race now for Oregon. CJ Carr. He's looking like a damn NFL quarterback for Notre Dame. He's from Saline. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss. We've talked about that guy. We just led Ole Miss to a huge win over LSU. That's a Forest Hills Northern former quarterback. And obviously, we know Bryce Underwood at Michigan. That's from Belleville. I mean, those are 4 of probably maybe the top 10, top 15 quarterbacks in college football right now coming from Michigan. It's pretty unreal when you think about it. It's worth celebrating.
Yeah, Dante Moore right now is number 1 in the Heisman, mainly because John Mateer got hurt. But Trinidad Chambliss actually is like number 6 or 7 in the odds to win the Heisman Trophy, which is absolutely insane to think about. So no, you're spot on with that.
Did he win the Harlan Hill last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So can you imagine that going from the Harlan Hill to the Heisman? He's still got a shot with a lot of season to go. Depends how far Ole Miss goes.
And Ole Miss, they have plenty of games for him to prove himself too in the SEC. So he'll have his chance.
Absolutely.
The story is written, man. The D2 quarterback, Heisman winner. I mean, it's if defeated, it'd be hard to give it to anybody but him. If they have one loss and they win the SEC, I don't know how you give it to anybody but him again. So it's looking pretty good.
And he was. There's going to be whether it's a 30 for 30 E60, maybe FanDuel Sports Detroit is going to do something. Jared will produce it. He was a 0-star recruit, and the story, like you said, Jared, is written. Absolutely, he wasn't even like a 2-star. He 0-star, and when Tony took Coach Anise at Ferris took a shot on him, and now he's winning SEC games in Death Valley, against LSU for Lane Kiffin. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was like, just today, I was like, dude, what were we missing? Like, what was everybody missing other than Ferris, obviously, about this guy? And I so I looked up his recruiting page. It was a basketball page. Like, he was talking about his basketball stats, trying to get signed by a basketball school. Now he's making a F-ton of money in NIL, and he's leading the Heisman race, and he's the starting quarterback at Ole Miss. It's pretty amazing, man. 0-star. Like you said, it's a story waiting to be written.
Yeah. Right there with Chad Powers. Yep.
We'll talk about that, man. That's going to be I don't know what that movie will be. That's a Tedertainment down the line. My guess is it's going to be horrible, but I'm going to be watching it. We'll see.
All right. Well, speaking of Tedertainment, let's take a short pause and come back with just a little Tedertainment Tonight right after this. All right. Well, we kind of teased it a little bit. Let's first of all get the quick thoughts on the Super Bowl halftime entertainment. I want to get your guys' opinion before I chime in. Bad Bunny.
So I'm gonna be honest. I know his music. I clipped off his top 5 songs. I'm gonna list off the names. You guys tell me if you know any of them. Number 1, this has over 1 billion streams. DTMF. Have you guys heard of that song?
Nope.
Bale in Vitalato, 8 billion or 8 million views. Like, so basically, I'm not gonna list them all off. You guys don't know him. He's huge.
He is huge.
I like Bad Bunny, and you guys are gonna clown me for this because we've already gone down the goddamn Happy Gilmore 2 rabbit hole. But if he could shine in that flick, this guy is gonna imagine him on the Super Bowl stage. He's gonna be a freaking superstar. So
now
I don't know. It's one of those guys where I need to like maybe dive into his discography and see because I do like him. He's likable. He's a good looking guy. He's got charisma. Obviously makes good music. People are listening to it. It was a bit stunning of a headliner, but I don't have any problems with it. It's something new. It's something hip. It's something young. I'm game for it.
Yeah. I will say it's funny. Jared has gone back and forth on Happy Gilmore so much. I really don't know what your review is on Happy Gilmore.
When did I ever say I liked it? When did I ever say I liked it?
You said he shined in it.
He said like the first hour.
I thought he was good in it. Yeah, but he was good in it. He had a good moment in there.
He did.
Outside of that, I'm not sure who else you could name, but he was good in it.
No, it was like you said, it was a little bit of when it came out, it was like okay. But then, right, I don't know the names of the songs that you just listed, but when I went through and listened to a couple, I was like, oh, I've heard this, or I think I've heard this, probably in a movie or I don't know, at the gym or something like that. I've heard a few of his songs. I would not be able to recognize the ones you just named. So in that sense, it was a little surprising. We don't have to get into the deeper stuff, but there's a whole side that he said he was never going to perform in North America or something, or US because of some politics and some other things. So there's that whole side. And then, he sees the paycheck for the Super Bowl and all right, I'm good. I'll go do that. So that's a whole discussion too, that we don't have to get into. But I think, we've talked about it like, man, they hit such a home run when they went back with Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and, brought in a couple newer guys. Kendrick Lamar was in there with that whole crew, 50 Cent. That tied in some of the, like my age, even a little older, Ted's age, the younger for Jared, with Kendrick. That was like man, that's a good one right there. Legends. There's been some swings and misses. I bet that this performance is probably going to be amazing. I bet you the show, everything is going to be great because, like you said, he's a star. Does anyone know his music? Like that's the one thing is like you just listed a bunch, and if you look at his streams and you look at millions and millions and millions, but it's like overall the Super Bowl audience, are they going to even know who the hell this guy is? That would be my one thing.
Well, like an artist, I was just going to say, Jared, like an artist. I'm sure he's huge worldwide, as you mentioned. He has a lot of follows. It's mostly Hispanic music, right? So the lyrics are all in Spanish, aren't they? So is the ultimate crowd watching the game going to be singing along with him? No, I think it's going to be more of high energy dance stuff, all that thing as a Super Bowl, as they like to put on. Hopefully he'll bring Pitbull out for a little cameo.
That's and that's always the second question is, okay, who's going to be in the show with him?
Yep.
We've seen Shakira already, so probably not. People, it's like, the NFL has been making a push to become global, and I don't blame them. I think it's smart.
No.
Don't bring up Adam Silver. I got a million thoughts on that, but Roger Goodell, I think he's been pretty smart, and it makes kind of some sense. Like, we know how awesome football is. It is kind of crazy that it hasn't been able to quite break through, worldwide. So. I'm all right with it. I'm not going to be gung-ho, counting the days until this halftime show. But to me, it's just how can we get Taylor Swift to do it? If I'm the NFL, I'm looking forward to next year, the year after that. What do we have to do? You tell us what we have to do to get you to perform at halftime, because if that happened, it'd be the biggest show of all time. So how do you make that happen?
Was it clickbait or was it a rumor? I read somewhere that she turned it down because the NFL wouldn't give her the rights to her performance or something? Or is that just BS? Did you hear anything about that?
That makes sense to me. I haven't heard that. That wouldn't make sense that she'd want that. And maybe it makes somewhat sense that the NFL wouldn't be willing to give her to her because, like I said, it's like probably the biggest performance there'd ever be. I don't know how it could be bigger. But yeah, I don't know. If I'm the NFL, it is what it is. Yeah, we don't get the rights to it, but my God, let's sell around it. Like, I don't know. You could make some pretty damn good money off of that, I would think.
Can you imagine if the Chiefs were in that Super Bowl? I got one other thing off the music topic. I don't know if you guys have Apple Plus TV, but I signed up for a free month and I wanted to check out the show, The Studio with Seth Rogen. It's awesome. It is awesome. It's a satire on the movie industry. He plays a studio head. and the supporting cast is awesome, starting with Bryan Cranston, but they have a great cast. But as far as a satirical comedy, I couldn't stop watching it. It was total binge worthy. 3.0 on 3-point podcast scale. It's excellent. The Studio. Check it out.
Is it, knowing Seth Rogen in that cat, is it rated R type comedy, or is it a little more like?
Yeah, I would say
raunchy?
it's rated R. There's no nudity, but there's F-bombs, that type of thing. But
I wasn't sure what kind of comedy it was, but I've seen people say similar things, that's just, it's a home run of a show.
Yeah, I think he won a record amount of Emmy Awards.
I actually have not heard of this show, but I will say, like, I think about the movie Neighbors, and Seth Rogen, and his best friend in that show was Ike Barinholtz, who is apparently Sal Saperstein. Those two guys together are usually pretty freaking hilarious. So just from that alone, those two guys on a show, you can sign me up. So might have to get on the Apple Plus. How'd you get the free month? What was that, a promo?
Well, I have an Apple phone. An email popped up, and I signed up for the free month. What I wanted to see was Severance. I didn't realize it was 3 seasons, so I don't know if I'm going to re-up for another month and pay for it or not. It's pretty good, but I still have to give it a little bit more time. I think I'm 6 episodes in that one, so I'll give you more of a review if I keep the subscription or not.
There's a few other Apple TV shows that I'm surprised you're not going to try and knock out. Is it Ted Lasso? Is Ted Lasso Apple?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I knocked that out. The other one I was watching was The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston. That was pretty good. They have good programming. Don't get me wrong, but my cable bill, man. Adding another $12.99 a month, I'm not so much on top of that.
The NFL Red Zone budget took away from that, probably.
That's right.
Fair to say. Yeah.
Maybe I'll re-up again if they give me another offer after football season's done. We'll see. All right. I know we got to get going out of here. It's been a longer one, but a fun podcast. We are brought to you by Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Make sure you stop in if you need to for their walk-in clinic, the orthopedic clinic, Monday through Fridays, 8 to noon. Find out more details on the Wellness Center on Facebook. We also want to thank AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Corey Shook and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Nichols Painting, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, Shiawassee County Fair and ALS of Michigan. The next Z92.5, the Castle Game of the Week. We talked about it a little bit. Goodrich at Owasso, 5-0 Goodrich at 4-1 Owasso. And again, we want to thank our special guest, baseball writer Emily Waldon, for taking the time out and chatting with us. She had some good stories there, and we look forward to touching bases with her down the road. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind. Thanks for listening.